But the first thing we're going to start off with is the news about Trump being indicted. So we're going to talk about this and how it's the perfect time for a major distraction. If you guys haven't noticed, when he got indicted, the news has been absolutely flooded with this, and there's a lot of stuff going on that they probably want to cover up. And so with this, we're not going to talk about the political side of stuff. I know lately we've been talking about this type of stuff, but like I said, when I think it's important, we'll bring it in. And I think this is a big distraction because something I always say, when the right hand is doing something over here, always watch what the left hand is doing over here. They like to do that distraction game. They like to throw something out there, flood the news, get people all riled up and blinded by what's going on with that, and then they start pushing stuff through. So some of the things that is going on right now that we should be paying attention to. Make sure we're looking through the circus. Don't look at the circus. Look behind the circus. And we take a look. Could they possibly be doing preparing something else for banking? That is a possibility. Could they be maybe pushing something through for some more climate agenda type stuff? That's a possibility as well. But what I'm kind of focusing on right now, and this is just me and what I'm looking at, one, the Restrict Act started getting mainstream push on what it is. And so this would be a good time to try and distract people from the news of what the Restrict Act actually is and pull it over here so they can try and push this through. Now, there's some stuff. I already went over the entire act and what it is and everything like that. I broke it down and all that stuff. But some things that people need to understand, and I didn't put this in the last Tuesday when we talked about it, but there's people need to understand that with this Restrict Act, you're talking about, this is full on internet, like Patriot Act on steroids type of thing. This is to control all of the internet speech. And so there's aspects of it where you're talking about if you're using a VPN, they can go after you for that. Anything that's connected to the internet, all of your smart devices, including your Ring doorbell, smart TVs, even your Alexa, all that stuff runs through a network, which they have listed in that. So they're going to have access to all of that. So if you're having a discussion in your house, not even like online, and Alexa's picking it up, and then they determine that they don't like what you're saying, they can get you for that. It's this type of stuff that this thing is doing. That's why I say it's even more dangerous than the Patriot Act. This thing is, I mean, if you're in the privacy of your own home and you've got internet capable things around you and they're picking up a conversation and they don't like that, they can go after you for that. So that's also part of this VPN, Ring stuff, all your smart stuff, anything connected to the internet, all of part of the Internet of Things, the thing that the WEF is trying to push out globally, that they are pushing out globally, all of that is going to be covered by this. So this is definitely things that you got to know about this Restrict Act. This thing is bad. This thing is bad. Another thing, a lot of people aren't really talking much about this, the pandemic treaty. That's coming up in May, I believe, for that vote. The pandemic treaty is also something that they want to try and cover up because even that is getting some attention in the news, and it's starting to go around on social media and all that stuff. Something to keep in mind on this pandemic treaty, a lot of people are saying, oh, the Senate will never pass this. It won't, the Constitution won't allow it. Well, how it's being pushed through is they're basically the administration right now is basically saying, because the United States is already a part of WHO, is already a member of the WHO, that they're bypassing the Senate vote. That's how they're doing this. So there's none of this, oh, it'll never pass Senate. They're using it as an establishment of, oh, we don't have to go through constitutional process. We don't have to get a vote through Senate because we're already a member of the WHO, so we can just go ahead and bypass all that and just give my stamp of approval. So that's the aspect of the pandemic treaty. So these things have just now started coming out. And of course, what they're going to do is they're going to drop the big distraction bomb of Trump getting indicted. So that is something to be very aware of when something like this is going on, because we already know he's a part of the game. We already know he's a player in this. He's part of the pieces. and he's one of the biggest dividers. It's something that I've always talked about. I don't know. I saw Matt in the chat earlier, but something that me and Matt has always talked about is we've had the ultimate three-headed monster of division the past three presidents. When you had Barack, he was the biggest divider for race. You had Trump, he was the biggest divider for politics. And then you have Biden, who's the biggest divider for gender and all that stuff. We had a massive three-headed monster as far as this goes. They were perfect players in all of this, and they're playing their script perfectly. And so something like this is going to be a massive distraction as far as all this stuff that's going on. And so with the media covering all this news and blanketing it, I don't know about you guys, but I'm seeing it all over the place. People are getting just up in arms. It's right and left just going at each other's throats on social media and stuff like that. And yeah, it's a bunch of keyboard warriors and all that stuff. But the thing is when you look at specifically media on the right, and I always do this because I think people need to not, there's more conservatives and Christians that are distracted and enthralled with Trump. But if you look at the media on the right, it's absolute worship of Trump. Trump can do absolutely no wrong. He can do absolutely no wrong. And this is something that has been started for a long time, and it's become a religion, a cult. And if you don't want to take my word for it, I've got a couple of examples as far as this goes. Now, there's somebody that I've always warned about it when I talked about the Great Awakening thing and all that stuff. A dude by the name of Mike Adams. You may know him as the Health Ranger, Natural News, Brighteon, all that stuff. Mike Adams. He is somebody who's been one of the leading guys. I'm not saying he's a leader of it, but he's been one of the leading guys of pushing Q stuff. He's somebody that's come up with 15 different ways that Trump was going to retake office from his inside military guys, and not one single thing that he was proposing ever came to pass. He's very big on clickbait and sensational news and stuff like that. Well, he just had a show on the 31st, yesterday, Friday, where he said some stuff about Trump that, as a Christian, well, just take my word for it. This is a clip from his recent podcast from yesterday.
They need to see that. So Trump is actually going to play a bit of a role, and I apologize for making this comparison, and I don't mean to say that he is Christ, but I'm saying that he is following in the footsteps of a Christ-like persecution. In other words, to say that the world needs to see Trump nailed to the cross, and Trump needs to be willing to take it. Trump needs to be willing to metaphorically bleed for the country to prove that he is willing to sacrifice his life, his soul, his everything, his wealth, his everything for America. If Trump isn't willing to be nailed to the cross, then he doesn't deserve our support. Because these are end times here, folks. We're talking about the survival or the destruction of this republic. And anybody who isn't willing to bear that cross and to wear that crown of thorns and to bleed for the American people doesn't deserve our support. Period. We are now entering the time of the Great Awakening.
Yeah, so Mr. Mike Adams there, one of the big Q guys and pushing all that stuff, is comparing Donald Trump to, he needs to be like Christ. He needs to be like Christ and wear the crown of thorns and be nailed to the cross and bleed and all this stuff. And he says, we're in the end times and we need to try and save the republic. Well, yeah, we're in the end times, and guess what? America ain't going to be there. We're going down. There's no saving anything of this country. And some people might look at that and go, you're giving up the fight. Some people might look at that and go, you're defeatist. Some people might Oh, you're just going to sit in a corner and cry and stuff. No. It's just, I know what my Bible says. I know what the signs are pointing at. I know what's coming. There's no saving this country. And this attitude of Donald Trump being Christ-like doesn't play. Then you'll notice at the very end, he said, it's time for the Great Awakening. Something I talked about, again, when we were going over the Great Awakening thing is, that's an aspect of the Q movement where it's all about the Great Awakening. It's stemmed from mysticism. It stemmed from the occult. It's about gaining new knowledge and having a great awakening and bringing in the kingdom now. That's all a part of the Q thing, and that's why I'm talking about this type of stuff. That's why I warn about people like Mike Adams, but he's pushing this Trump worship, this Trump cult type of thing, and if you don't believe me, we've got this. This is just one. There's several books out there, but there's one. President Donald J. Trump, the Son of Man, the Christ. Guys, this is the reality of where we're at now. This is the reality that we're in. This is all a game. This is a game to them. And they're playing everybody against each other, distracting everybody, deceiving everybody, so they can continue to push through what they want to push through. And it's, as much as people want to say, it's the Biden administration. No, he's just he's a checker piece on the board of all this stuff. This goes much bigger. This goes towards the Antichrist system. All these people are players in it. Don't get wrapped up. Don't get wrapped up in all this stuff. Don't be deceived by everything that's been going on. Do not get held up on this cult of politics, because that's exactly what they want. And as you can see by the media out there, it's all getting flooded, stirring up more of this stuff. We got to be careful. We're living in the days of deception. And what's going on with this indictment is a major distraction when we've got stuff like the Restrict Act and the pandemic treaty and all this stuff going on. And who knows what else they're going to try and pull out of their back pocket. So I just want to give you guys some warning, give you guys some heads up as far as this goes. Don't get wrapped up in this. Don't focus on all this stuff. Pay attention and see what's going on. But again, don't watch the circus. Watch what's going on behind the circus.